For too long, we've been that welcome mat that has allowed everybody to walk over us. We willfully accept this because we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So we tend to the needs of others out of respect, out of kindness. That's what we tell ourselves. But inwardly, we're resentful, we're angry, we're bitter. We want our own life. We want to say yes to our needs. We're tired of being that passive welcome mat that puts others before us. We accept the labels of everyone else. We accept the labels of society that we're too young, we're too old, we're too obese, we're too skinny, we're too ugly, we're not good enough, we're too good. We'll never meet the criteria needed to become that person. And we wear those labels like a blanket, like a comfortable blanket. It becomes our need. We get used to being that welcome mat that's covered in mud, that's covered in disgust, that's covered in failure. But inwardly, we're tired of that. We want more. We know there's more. We know we're capable of more. We know we need to begin to pursue more. So there's this story that I read a while back. There's this line of people, a big line, and they're all moving towards this stage where there's an executioner on the stage. He's wearing that executioner mask, the black mask over him, and he's shouting for each person to step up. And everyone in line's wearing this coat. And on the back of the coat, there's this label that suggests what they are. Poor, fat, ugly, not good enough. Everyone's wearing a label that society has deemed necessary for them to carry. And so the executioner's bringing them each up onto the stage. He judges them and then sentences them to death. And so these people willfully are stepping up to the stage to be judged and to be sentenced to death, for their life to be taken away. And as he orders the judgment and sentence, he tells them, go on. And each person walks to the end of the stage and jumps off this cliff to their death. And each person is willfully doing this. They're all in line, knowing what's going on, knowing that they're all going to be judged guilty of substandard of society, and that they're wearing this label that doesn't really fit them, and it's been thrown and thrust upon them, but they're just accepting it as is, on face value, without taking an in-depth look, without combating that. And so each person walks up to the stage, receives their sentence, and willfully jumps off the cliff to their death. But there's this guy at the back of the line. He's thinking, something's wrong here. This just doesn't add up. He's wearing a label of mediocrity. His label suggests that he's average, that he's never going to amount to anything greater than average. But he's thinking, I can be better than average. I know more than average. I'm capable of more than mediocrity. And as he inches closer to the stage of death, he's beginning to think there's something more. There's got to be something more. And he has this introspection, this reflection that I'm capable of so much more than jumping to my death. And as he continued to hear the thuds of bodies dropping from the cliff, he hears thunder and looks to the skies, and lightning strikes down next to him. And it sparks this fire. The fire starts blazing on this pile of wood that's been discarded to the side. And it begins raging, it begins roaring. And he looks deep into that fire and he recognizes, yes, there is something more. I am capable of something greater. I don't have to be that passive welcome mat that jumps to my death because society has deemed me not good enough. He walks to the fire. He takes off his coat and discards the label into the fire as it burns. Others take notice. A few, with that same reflection and introspection that man has had, begin to discard their coats as well. But the crowd, they begin to rage and point and scream at those select few that have chosen to remove the label. Who do you think you are? You think you're better than us? You will not amount to anything. Get back in line. Accept your judgment. Accept who you are. They're screaming, they're spitting, they're throwing rocks, they're throwing insults as they continue to jump to their death. And the first guy, he looks towards the north. And he notices this building, this tower, small at first, and he begins to walk towards it. He walks closer, and the tower seems to grow larger and larger as he gets nearer and nearer, but at some point he recognizes, I've been walking for hours, and I thought I was getting closer to this tower, this tower that's captivating me, that continues to grow larger and larger, but as I walk more, it seems to get further away. And he walks for hours, he walks for days. He's getting tired and he doesn't know how much longer he can continue. And people along the way, they offer him water, they offer him food, they offer him shelter. And he continues walking. He finds some substance to help him to continue on that path. Because he's captivated this tower. It's beautiful, it's magical. And it carries this majestic, nostalgic, innate nature that brings him forth to something bigger than who he is. It reminds him of something. He continues walking, but he keeps getting discouraged along the path because it grows bigger but seems to get further away, and he's asking, what am I doing? I left what I had known for this, and I'm starving, I'm hungry, I'm tired. This deserted area out here offers no substance. What am I doing? And he notices in the distance this beautiful woman walking towards him. Beautiful woman. She gets closer. She says, how are you doing? She calls him by name. He says, I'm tired. I've been walking for weeks and I don't exactly know where I'm going. And she says, well, what led you this way? And he points to the tower and he says, that tower, there's something about it. It's almost as if it's calling me towards it. And it continues to get bigger, but further away, the more I walk towards it. And she smiled. And he said, well, what are you smiling about? Don't you understand? I left the herd back there. I left those people jumping to their death. I left what I knew. I left my beliefs and everything that I had ever understood for this tower, but it will not let me get closer. And she said, that tower represents excellence. That tower represents your goals. That tower represents life. That tower represents your potential. And as you remove yourself from the old, and as you begin to pursue excellence, you're going to achieve excellence. You're going to remove yourself from limitations. You're going to become stronger, bolder, more sharp, more productive. And in regards with how much you grow, that tower of excellence is going to continue to grow too. And the man agreed, nodded his head and said, yeah, I get that, okay, but why can I not get close to it? Why can I not walk into that tower? And she said, that's the deal with excellence. That's the deal with your goals. You're never going to reach excellence. You're going to pursue it. And there's going to be times that you're hungry and you're out in the middle of the desert and it seemingly doesn't make sense. But you have to remember the herd back there jumping to their death. You're so much further along than those that have accepted the label that society has placed on them. And sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's hard. Because it's easy to accept your label and to jump off the cliff and stay in mediocrity. It's difficult and arduous to pursue excellence. The tower is always going to continue to grow bigger. Your achievements are going to continue to grow bigger if you move towards them. But you're never going to find a resting point. When you find that resting point, you might as well jump off the cliff and become another thud in the existence of death and mediocrity. And the man shook his head and said, I get what you're saying. I'd rather move towards excellence and never exactly arrive at it than jump to my death and for sure arrive at a less than subservient standard. In life, we can choose to be that passive welcome mat that accepts our labels, that accepts the calling of the herd to jump to our death without fulfilling any goals or fulfilling our true potential. Or we can begin to pursue something that is difficult, it is hard. It's difficult to transform your body. It's difficult to transform your finances. It's difficult to pursue those goals. But life has a remarkable way of rewarding those that set their intentions in a difficult manner. They go against the grain, that say, I'm going to pursue something outside of the labels that everybody is so blindly and willfully ready to accept. There's a fire of calling, there's a fire of potential, and there's a fire of possibility, and it's asking for you to remove the labels of less than thoughts, throw them into the fire that fuels you to move towards that tower of excellence. And you may never arrive at an exact destination, but you'll be moving forward. And along the way, there's going to be people, there's going to become insights, knowledge that are going to feed you, that are going to help you move towards that is going to give you a drink of water when you are dying of thirst. Continue to move forward, believe there's potential out there waiting for you, and quit being the welcome mat of acceptance, quit being the welcome mat of passivity. Be that assertive person that throws off the coat of label into the fire and that strives toward your potential evermore.